ready?
Yeah.
You look ready.
And I'm ready. It's Sunday night. That means this is At Week's End. Spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics, movies, shows, news, all that and more. And just like last week, there's a lot of shows we're going to be keeping up with through the holiday season. A lot of them worth talking about, worth diving into. And we're going to do all that right after this. Joining us tonight is not Sector 2815 because Paul is having to take a night off, but we have the official fill-in man, Brother John.
That's official. The
I
contract,
think it is official at this point,
the
right?
contract's been signed.
Checks in the mail. Got the check. And logging in at the last second here, we have none other than the Lego Master Extraordinaire, Mr. Aggressively Relaxing. What is happening?
Hey, it's so good to hear from you guys.
There he is.
Yeah, I'm really excited to come in and talk. I was coming back from the classic Christmas mall experience, and what people say about Atlanta traffic is true. But I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to say that about Atlanta traffic all the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad you made it back. You're home safe. Yeah. Well, I'm just glad.
All right, I got my phone caught up here. All right, there we go. AR, how was your weekend?
Oh, I've been having a great weekend. Like I said, just had a very cliche experience. I got to go and watch, what is it called?
Kraven the Hunter.
No, I was not lucky enough to see that film yet. I wish I could talk Kraven with you tonight. Sadly, I have not been able to check that out. I went and saw the Polar Express.
Oh, nice.
I've seen it a bunch, and I was able to see it again today in the theater. It was very nice.
Yeah, and
but otherwise,
Kraven,
it was.
If someone came here to see
weekend.
Kraven, you've come to the wrong place because I already assumed most people wouldn't have seen Kraven, and we're not doing a movie special night or anything. I've already recorded a Kraven video, getting into the details of the movie, my review of the movie, and discussing like what the future of Sony has in store. It's available now for channel members. Otherwise, you can watch that tomorrow, so you can get your Kraven content, but it'll be posting tomorrow. Tonight is all about this past week of stuff that people actually kept up with.
There you go.
But I'm glad that you got to see the Polar Express. Is that like your go-to movie for the holiday season?
No, they just had a thing going on at the theater, and it was an experience with a whole bunch of people. There was a ton of people in my community that were going to go see it with their kids together, and it turned out pretty fun. So it was
I remember when that movie came out, that discussion, that was like the Uncanny Valley era for computer animation. Like borderlines on too real, but just being a little bit off or something.
Yeah, just making it a little creepy to some. Some people are like, "This is just a little creepy."
Like I love the Christmas season.
I've heard a lot of people
crawling.
Yeah,
yeah. I was looking at it tonight and thinking, I think this actually holds up pretty well because a lot of us were talking about, they should do a reskin of it if they could, touch it up, the remastered Polar Express. But watching it tonight,
pretty easy.
It was pretty good.
I think that's part of its charm, right? That it was trying to do something different and was kind of that right at the beginning.
What was a couple of other ones that were like that? Beowulf, the computer Beowulf. That was a tough movie, but it just had that something's off factor to it. I want to say hey to some of the people in the chat, and we'll start diving into some of this stuff. Glad you can make it, AR. That was like right at the skin of your teeth. Pops Attic is in the building. What is going on, homie? Christina Payne, hello to you. Las Crucius, hello. Happy birthday to the adventurous one. Joseph Michaels turned 24 today.
Wow.
Congratulations and happy birthday. Digger Jim, brother to Brother John's Comics. DJ Links, what's going on, homie? The backup, Paul. What is going on, ABX Comics and Games? Paul, how are you tonight? Wellbore, what is going on? Hello. There he is. What's going on, Sector? John is like the chameleon. He can sub for anyone. That's a Kraven reference.
Well, there you go.
AR does it just.
That's why I don't get that.
Yeah. It's also a Spider-Man villain. Also, why you don't get that? Paul, get the ring changed for next week. The role of AR will be played by a Lego person. Yeah, can you fill us in? Who's the host of your Lego talk show?
Yeah, that's me, right? That's a little Lego version of me. I had
accurate.
him custom made by a person here in my house. They say that's what I look like, so I like it. Let's see if we can get a close-up shot of the talk show room here.
Yeah.
I have Data joining us.
I feel like it's like a between two ferns.
Oh, yeah, Zach Galifianakis.
Data's
That is pretty spot on.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly spot on.
I can barely tell the difference.
Yeah, see, it looks just like me.
Yeah.
What's going on, Trev? Hello. All right. So let's dive into it. There's still a lot of shows to talk tonight. I'm excited to talk about them. There's some really good stuff out there. AR, you've been pretty good at keeping up with television these days.
Yes. I've been watching movies and television. I've seen all sorts of stuff lately. So I'm ready to talk about pretty much anything you got.
All right.
Except Landman.
This is
come on.
That's where we're going.
I'm intrigued. I'm gonna watch it.
Now, me and Brother John were talking right before we got started. Definitely kicking it off with Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Brother John's dove into the first episode. I just finished episode 3, and I know AR is keeping up with this. It's the new series on Disney Plus. This is its second week out, following this group of weird little kids on a space pirate odyssey. And I got to tell you, I was telling Brother John, after watching episode 3, I'm going to have to take back to the posting after watching every episode and watching them when they come out and doing the little reviews, because this show's fantastic. Like there's really no way around it. Episode 3 was amazing. It was fun. It had that adventure feel to it. When they got to the little moon outpost with the little owl lady, it just like, dude, this it almost feels like a Christmas show, and it's not even got anything to do with Christmas. It just has that little bit of magic adventure to it kind of feel.
Well, yeah. I'm not so sure about it doesn't have anything to do with like the spirit of what I would say is Life Day, the Christmas of Star Wars. There has been the teaser that you see the troop of like dancers that Neil's family, the little elephant people, are watching, and that's from the holiday special.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
spoke about that last week. I remember that.
So that's like enough of a teaser that you could have one of the parents.
It might be taking place around that time era in the show, is what you're thinking?
It could turn into a get back in time for Life Day.
That'd be cool if they did that. How many episodes is this show supposed to be?
It is 8.
So we're about halfway already.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Whole premise of it is the planet these kids are from is a place called At-Adon, which is intentionally hidden from everything else in the galaxy. And it's become a fabled treasure planet. These pirates are after it. They linked up with Jude Law in a jail cell in episode 2, and this was the breakout episode. Break out of the jail cell, get out of the pirate port, and try to get some coordinates to potentially get back home. So they link up with one of Jude Law's old friends, if you want to use that term loosely, who's this just delightful Mal, I guess. I'm like, yo, this is Dr. Von Hoot's cousin right here. It's literally just a delightful little Mal, which it's like a star charter on a moon outpost, which was a really cool little aspect. They throw in a little X-wing chase scene at the end, and then we're off to the next episode at light speed. It was a fun, quick little 40-minute episode, but again, it's just got that delightful factor to it. I don't know what it is. I'm not an easy sell with Star Wars stuff, not at all, but for whatever reason, this is hitting for me.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine that I work with, and he's more like around my age, and he said it's like the first thing that has like the feel of the Goonies, but it's not so draped in Star Wars that you lose that this is a completely individualized kind of thing that can stand on its own. So I'm looking forward to seeing the next couple of episodes. Like I said, I watched that first one. There's just been so much coming out. I haven't had a chance to get back to it. And also I try to find time in the schedule to watch it with the kid, because it's like right in his zone too.
Yeah, it's definitely good. That's a good way to describe it too, because you watch it and it's kind of its own thing. And then like police will have to be called and it'll be an X-Wing that pulls in, like that's your connection, because all of it's off the beaten path. You're following space pirates, which have been present in Star Wars for a long time and stuff, but it never, why would you do a show on it kind of thing? That's a good question. Why would you do this? But I don't know why you would do this. I don't get to make those decisions, but they did it. And it's legitimately enjoyable, but it definitely feels separated enough. I think that might be like a factor of it that's making it work well, because a lot of this other stuff, like the Obi-Wan show, I wasn't happy with that at all. I absolutely hated the Acolyte. I like the Ahsoka show really well, but a lot of it is just, it seems like it's trying to teeter on being something new while still hanging on too much to other stuff. I don't know. This is just, here it is. Rogue One, loved Rogue One. Kind of did its own thing.
Yeah,
that was like slam in the middle of the other ones though. I don't know.
I like to see.
Yeah,
I liked the Acolyte, as you know, we've talked about before. I liked it because for that very reason, it decided and just to be something different and new, and this idea that this vast, massive universe that we're playing in, that everything revolves around these particular families or lineage and so forth. What else is going on out there? What else, how are people interpreting this religion and this stuff and so forth? So I thought it was, there were things I didn't like about it. Some of it was a swing and a miss, but I liked that they took a swing.
I like that they brought back real lightsaber fights. That's all I liked about it.
Agreed. And that's, you were talking about the Obi-Wan show. I was so disappointed that they did so little with that, but the two of them together, was the payoff.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't a very good payoff. It doesn't last long, but
no, they could have done a much better story around that to get us there.
It's almost insulting to those two actors to
absolutely.
Like, we're gonna do this, and it's gonna be, and then you get them there. It's like, oh, the Anakin Ahsoka payoff was huge, and I'm not even a big Rebels person. I had to go back and watch some of that for more context, but
yeah, that worked well, or at least worked better. I think going back, like with the Obi-Wan thing, trying to go back into the established timeline and insert these other stories, that's hard to do, and it's hard to do in an interesting way.
Yeah. Sledge said you would do a show about them if you followed Legends. Booster Tarek and Talon Carde play a huge role in the formation of building the New Republic. AR, do these names sound familiar?
No. There's so much Star Wars.
He's making it.
I'm the type of guy who's forgotten more than most people know, and I'm trying to think of old Booster's role. And is this an X-Wing series guy? I wonder. Like in this book, it's funny that you'd said that you felt like the Ashoka was one of the better ones, because I really as someone who watched all of the Rebel stuff, it did seem to, in my opinion, out of all of them, tread new ground. And I did feel that Ashoka kind of showed imagery and did things that the show had already really done with their relationship, but it was nice to see a big budget version of it. Yeah, and I've got different criticisms of a lot of these shows. I thought Obi-Wan kind of looked cheap in some places, some of the fights that they did. Where are they at? Is this a Corey or something? But there's cheap looking places in Star Wars too. So who am I? A set, designer?
I didn't like them bringing little kid Luke into it, and that was ridiculous. He's running for his life from a crazy woman with a lightsaber, but we've seen him as an adult see a lightsaber for the first time.
Right, and be like, whoa.
Yeah, what is that? Looking down the barrel of it and everything. I clearly didn't know what it was, And that was the same thing with the Acolyte. I felt like a lot of it kind of just betrayed what we knew about Star Wars when it started, and I don't know.
And that's fair.
Patch that up. But again, that's a mileage may vary. And I also thought just the Acolyte was just god awful writing. Everything that you can say positive about Superman and Lois with a minuscule budget it carried because of the quality of writing. The opposite can be displayed with the Acolyte. It's got all the budget in the world, and the poor writing couldn't pull it through with that budget kind of thing.
Well, I don't want to take like a lot of time talking about like defending the Acolyte, which I do also really like.
Yeah, no, I'm outnumbered tonight on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
That's the first.
It's nothing you hear.
That's all right. I'm already. If you look, I've already lost Joe's respect.
Yeah, all respect from him, not just some of it.
Yeah, not all respect. Which
on his birthday, sir.
I mean, yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to rethink some of my life choices.
Well, like when you read a ton of Star Wars and like listen to all these Star Wars, you see a theme in a couple different types of stories. And there's definitely types of stories I like more, like following the noble Jedi. The overall tone of those books is normally a lot of fun because he's going to do the right thing, kind of like doing, the great space cop, and he's going to do all the right stuff. There's a lot of like fun stuff. Like you see that with Avar Chris right now in the High Republic, or whenever you have like an Obi-Wan. But then like there's the Sith books, and the Sith books are always really funny because like Sith inner monologue and Sith decision making is just insane, and that's kind of what Acolyte was, I would say. It reminds me a lot of like the Bane trilogy. Person starts as a worker and then becomes a Sith Lord. The way like those books were all talking about how the government was coming down on the Jedi Order as well. There's like so many things that are taken from the Bane books and kind of her erratic behavior, and a lot of the people's very erratic behavior, which when you watch it, you have to chalk up to like they're just passionate and crazy. Because we're watching a story about bad guys, and it makes I see why a lot of people are like not as interested in that story, but there's just so much or so little story about Sith right now that I just am so excited to see things like that. And I've got my own problems with like how they depicted Plagueis, for instance. But to get back to what we were talking about, when those little kids climbed into the turrets, like and took over the turrets, that was, and just kind of live the scene from A New Hope. It's one of the coolest things I've seen all year.
Yeah, it was really, dude, the special effects artists for this show were just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm pretty wide open to all of it. I don't dig too deep to have too much of a critical eye on it. I mean, I went saw the original trilogy in the theater, and I didn't know that. I mean, that's not great writing either. On the but I didn't know, and I didn't care at 10 years old, or whatever, 6 years old, whatever it was. But I've kind of kept that same attitude. We got to the later ones, and so there's things in there that are just like, space horses running along the side of a. I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Okay. Yeah, to be honest with you, and I've put a lot of thought into this too, and it's with something, and it's not exclusive to Star Wars. It can go for any existing franchise that's been around for a long time, that's rooted in decades of fandom and decades of lore. It is a certain thing, and it is not a certain thing. A cannot be A and B. It's the rule of non-contradiction excluded middle here. So when you're watching Star Wars and it's a new property and you're not thinking about it, you're not watching it to dissect it, and something happens and just you have a natural instinct, that's not right. Or that's not that, just without any effort, you just get that feeling. Mm-hmm. That feeling comes over me often watching Disney Star Wars stuff. And that's when I think about it. I don't go in thinking where let me get a microscope and figure out where they missed something in canon or lore. I can't do that.
Right.
You can do
It
that.
has to be pretty obvious
Yeah,
or pretty blatant
I'm not
for
a
you to.
I'm not a book hound. I'm not an extended universe hound. I am an OG trilogy, and I'm most certainly a prequel hound. So like I'm only dealing with like those few properties. And if I can watch these and stuff's like that doesn't work, that doesn't fit, that's wrong. That means you're ignoring like the most canon obvious things in established lore. And you can't do that. Like, I
Right.
mean, you can do it, but face the backlash if you do.
That's interesting though. So do you take that same kind of mindset with like the not just the MCU but with comic book movies and stuff? It's like they're two separate things. They're
Yeah,
not tied because I've never once read a Star Wars book.
neither have I.
Anything Star Wars I've been, taken in is on a screen or on a big
I read
screen.
the
Small.
Django one shot that they did. That's it.
I don't even know that I've read a Star Wars comic book. You know what I'm saying? So, but like with any of the comic book movies, MCU, any of the DC stuff, I have to see it a little bit as two separate things, so I don't do that same thing. It's like
Yeah,
this.
so like
That's
with
not right. This
the
can't.
movie adaptations, I take them as adaptations. That Star Wars is not. Star Wars originates from film. The original trilogy that's your original canon. The prequels, that's your original canon, and you're just building on that. So I don't. So with comic book movies, like I didn't watch Christopher Reeve Superman and say Superman can't fly around the world backward. You know, like this is a movie adaptation. Same thing with the MCU. These are movie adaptations of characters. This is, you know what I mean? Like
Star
these are
Wars
separate
book
things.
came out first.
But like if if the MCU starts contradicting phase one of the MCU, we would be in a Star Wars situation. If they
Right.
start messing up their own timeline, like and pretending like they're not doing it, or you know what I mean? Like
Or their own character progression or development. I mean, the Hulk is the biggest example of that, right?
yeah, God.
So if you've never read a Hulk comic book or knew nothing about the Hulk or even saw the Hulk TV show with Lou Ferrigno or anything like that, you came into that fresh and you watched all of the MCU, the Hulk at the beginning to the Hulk we had, at the end is like this is completely different characters.
Yeah,
Like
it
not
would be
just a
it'd be
character shift. It's a
imagine if
completely different character.
imagine if they came out with this Ironheart TV show and somewhere in that Ironheart TV show they write in that she has a little time travel device and she goes back to Tony Stark when he's a kid and gives him the arc reactor technology.
Right.
That's like the equivalent of Reva chasing baby Luke Skywalker around with a lightsaber.
No, I agree.
That's just dumb. Like, what are you doing? That's not how it happened.
It's not how it happened.
It's not how it happened.
I just
That was a different Luke Skywalker. There's a multiverse in the Star Wars now.
yeah, this when you've played like Masters of Terra and have read every weird Del Rey novel and watched the changing continuities. And like I said, yeah, the original Star Wars book is so funny. It's worth a read. It's very short. It doesn't start out with like a long, long time ago in a galaxy far away. It has like I'm trying to remember what the opening thing is. It's way funnier though. And also Obi-Wan is way more violent in it. Like the scene in the bar where one guy gets his arm cut off and he runs away. In the book, like that's the only guy that survives is the guy who got his arm cut off. There's a couple other pretty funny like changes. Yeah, so like the history of Star and then of course, it's holiday season, so I assume both of you guys have watched, the holiday special this year, right?
Surprisingly, no.
No, you haven't gotten through Wookiees just growling at each other with no subtitles for an hour and a half. Well,
That's how I imagine
Ewoks.
you talk with your kids.
No, I guess we should get off Star Wars. There is a bunch of other things to talk about. But yeah, Skeleton Crew, incredible. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, 2 thumbs up for sure. And there's so many things to talk about there, like the character Crimson Jack. That is a throwback to a bunch of like comic book lore, both in Disney and in the original stuff. And, I could go on and on about that type of stuff. Really looking forward to what they do. Also, I want to call it now. Tatooine, the desert planet, will be one of the destroyed gems of the Old Republic. That's my big prediction
for the show.
Yeah, they said like, oh, there used to be these 9 planets, the gems of it might have been 7, but like there used to be these planets. Tatooine's one of them, the hidden planet. The other ones were destroyed. So my big prediction is we're gonna find out Tatooine was one of these planets.
I like when the kid mentioned. I like when the kid mentioned Alderaan. Oh my God, Alderaan! Did you miss the war? What war? Okay, y'all really might be from that add-in.
You have been hidden away.
Yeah, moving on. The other big one from the other side of the aisle dropped this week. We got episode 3 of Creature Commandos on HBO Max. Much like the same thing that we did with Skeleton Crew, they dropped the first 2 episodes the first week and then gave us a single episode the second week. It looks like we are going episodic. We're going to be breaking down each of these characters along the way. Episode 2, we kind of got the backstory of the bride and the weird necrophilia for some reason, and now we are getting the backstory. I'm not going to let that go. I'm super mad at James Gunn right now, but we get the backstory for G.I. Robot in this episode, and for a 22-minute episode, it's interesting to think of how much story they actually had to write for this, because you have 2 different stories. You have the backstory and the actual forward-moving plot, and they both share about equal amount of time in these episodes. And it's only the short episode, so you only get like 10 minutes of forward-moving plot. But man, it moved fast. It was just a race from our team to get back to the castle where the attack was heading. And then you get a big battle at the castle trying to save the princess from the sons of the Mascara who are running around in there trying to kill her, and saved in the nick of time. Greatly by G.I. Robot, who goes absolutely ham when he is told by Commander Flag that these guys are Nazis. So G.I. Robot did his thing, and we get to see some upgrades that were given to him by Dr. Magnus of all people. Tons of cool cameos. In the flashback, we see that Magnus had a hand in upgrading Joe along the way. We also see Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man again since last time. What was it in Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol.
Yeah. We saw the fisherman, and Aquaman villain was in some jail cell. There's some cool cameos. It was a good episode, and Joe's backstory. I keep calling him Joe. G.I. Robot. Junkyard Joe. Like that's Junkyard Joe's my G.I. Robot, but it was really cool. It was a good episode, but G.I. Robot does not make it out of the episode in one piece. Cersei decimates him. And then Weasel and Dr. Phosphorus decimate Cersei back. They have her in custody, and she's heading to Belle Reve for questioning now.
Yeah, it's up and down for me, this show, but this last episode, I really enjoyed it. I thought it's a lot of fun, and I'm kind of the same as you. Is that I'm like, this is just 22 minutes. I mean, like, I feel like we got a lot in that 22 minutes. And a lot of Nazi killing, which is always a good thing.
Always a good thing.
But I also like a lot. I like just those little Easter eggs that they throw in. You know, that's just the geek side of me. You know, when I saw Dr. Magnus, that was awesome. And I was like, of course, that's perfect. That's a perfect choice to just slip in. It just, so I'm having fun with it. I think it's fun. I know there's some people that don't like that it jumps between that kind of serious and funny and kind of thing, but that's Gunn to a T. So I don't know, I don't know what you expected going in. And then, it's like it's one story type of thing, like you're talking about with the forward moving plot, and then you're getting backstory, but like, picking things apart, it's just go with it. Just go with it. Don't pick things apart. Like people getting bent out of shape about Weasel taking out Cersei or so forth. It's like, that would never happen. And it's like, dude, it's a story. It's one story. It's one situation.
I don't know why it wouldn't. I was thinking about that too. Oh, go ahead, AR. What do you think of the series? The episode? I was thinking about the same Weasel. Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing with Weasel. I wasn't thinking that he would never take out Cersei. I was thinking that was awesome that they let him, because we also happened to him in the Suicide Squad movie. He got he got sidelined because he couldn't swim. And then it was a treat at the end of the movie seeing that he wasn't dead. So we haven't seen him do his thing, and he went savage. And we saw Cersei fighting the bride. She's not invincible character at all. Like
it's magic.
Yeah, she's getting hit in the face. She's not casting spells. Like the bride almost took her out herself. And this frantic, crazy thing just going all over. That's exactly what would throw her off her game. And then Dr. Phosphorus just catching her in the face. That was really cool. And I saw that she still has the handprint in the next episodes.
Yeah.
You back, AR?
I like that they're kind of like giving like a hint at a Weasel redemption as well.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too.
Yeah, man, but what's not to love? Like him scanning the crowd for Nazis.
It wasn't really programmed for public appearances.
Yeah.
I just like that too. That's the simplicity of it is that Flag's just like those guys. Those are Nazis. and they was like, oh, okay, it's on now.
It was cool. We got to see Sergeant Rock as well in the flashback. Now, I most certainly noticed in GI's backstory, he went from rocking with Sergeant Rock to the Dr. Magnus to the public appearance stuff, ultimately getting shelved and bought by a private individual who bought him for their trophy room. Now, that private individual was voiced by Yondu himself,
Michael Rooker. And so GI Robot cannot say a sentence without asking someone of their Nazi status. Like through all of this, that's all he's ever asked anyone, said or done. But he's with this guy for an extended period of time, and it never once asked this guy to go out and kill Nazis or if he's a Nazi or any of this stuff, all the way to the point of getting taken to an actual Nazi rally. Like I'm like, that's we really shoehorned this in there somehow, but it's still fun, violent and wild. But I'm like, yeah, I think this guy would have been taken out in his own home a long time before they made it here. For sure.
Man, yeah. I was gonna say someone who's like appreciates the wackier side of comics. You know, when I see Absolute Batman, I can't help but say, well, when are we going to see Absolute Batmite? And like, so I get excited when I see Crypto, and like some of the things that are the side of comics that I really enjoy. So yeah, I really like that is doing a good job of showing, we're going to show the wackier side. But I wonder how you guys feel about it. Like, I think one of the craziest ones was, Shaggy showing up for a second.
For that brief second in the background.
Yeah.
So I enjoy these properties, but I'm super, super frustrated. I want this DCU to work really, really bad. Like I want it to be good stuff. I want it to be well received. I want it to be able to be successful for a good handful of years before they ultimately drop the ball and burn it to the ground. I don't want to see them drop the ball at the beginning. We've, as DC fans, like we've kind of gone through a long 10 plus years now watching Warner Brothers pick up the ball, drop it, and attempt to keep picking it up, and they just couldn't get a footing. So it's frustrating to me to see them go through all this prep, all this hype, all this hiring and changing of hands and all this stuff simply to kick off their DCU with a niche R-rated cartoon that's just, it seemed like a terrible idea from like a marketing standpoint. I don't think there's anything at all wrong with Creature Commandos other than the timing of its release. They should have held this back till after Superman. And I know they got to put stuff out. That's their job. That's literally their only job, is to make content, release content. And they got to do something. But this just seems like a terrible place to start the DCU, because you're not just fighting for viewers, you're fighting the court of public opinion. And in DC's case, you have a lot to deal with. You have people that are never James Gunners. There's a hashtag Fire James Gunn that goes around because some people dislike James Gunn for reasons that are not worth getting into, but they have reasons. There's some people that are just only Snyder people. They're I don't know how many there are, but God, they've got a strong internet presence. No matter what comes out, if it's not Snyder, they're gonna rail against it. And then you have people like one guy I talked to in comment section today who just had a comment on something. We've been excited about the new DC, and I sat down and started Creature Commandos with my son and had to turn it off a few minutes in because a sex scene fired up. I'm like, not everybody keeps up with this stuff on a detailed enough level. You know, I mean, granted, he should have seen like the TVMA thing, but that could just be for violence or something like that. Like my kid, you know, he's 7. I don't care if he sees like cartoon robots shooting people up, but I'm not going to let him watch people having sex. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird. DC as a brand is not well represented by Creature Commandos. DC as a brand, you think of the DC Trinity. Then there's niche stuff outside of that, but DC does have a brand. It has an image, and this show does not represent it well to a new audience. And it's at a time when a lot of new audiences are curious and are coming in and taking a peek. So it's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can certainly see that. Like I feel like, and we don't know, but I feel like there was pressure to get something done and get something out fast. And I think they thought, you know what, the Harley cartoon did well, and got a lot of attention, and people seemed to like it, and it was inexpensive to make and was quick to make. So let's just do something like that. Get us something like that. And, that wasn't tied to the previous DCEU or anything like that. This shouldn't have any, other than the fact that it's James Gunn and they're trying to build it as everything being tied together. That's fine. But then this should not have been the first thing out the gate. Because I agree. I don't think it sets the right tone. I don't think it captures new viewers. And if it does, it may turn them off very quickly. So I mean, as a comic book fan and fan of all of this, I dig the show. I think it's good and it's fun. But if I were coming in new, this is not what would draw me in.
Yeah, leave you scratching your head. And to the point, it's December last year was the last DC universe thing. That's when Aquaman dropped. Yeah. But to your point about Harley Quinn, they just dropped the trailer this week for the next season, so it's coming back for more.
Yeah, it's still going. Yeah, because that did really well. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I can't remember what it was, but I was reading something that was talking about how cheap it is to make. I mean,
I wonder how much the Cape Crusader was to make that new Batman cartoon. I don't think it had this. I don't know how it did numbers wise, to be honest with you.
The one on Amazon? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I unfortunately, being on Amazon probably didn't help it.
Well, I know, like, I only saw like the first episode because it's on Amazon. I can only sit down and watch it on a certain TV, and I don't know. It just didn't have me like running back to watch more. Watchmen 2 did well. Yeah, I don't think anything in the Tomorrowverse has done well, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know what well is for them anymore, but the DC animated studio that had the DC animated universe has ever since they did their Apocalypse War. The whole Tomorrowverse.
Yeah, what's he qualifying as Watchmen 2?
They did the newest DC animated films is Watchmen Chapter 1 and Watchmen Chapter 2. They just did an animated feature film of. Oh, right. Yeah. So Watchmen 2, I'm assuming he's talking about Watchmen Chapter 2, which is the most recent DC animated release.
Okay. Because that's just telling from what I've seen of it, it's just retelling the same story. Yeah. It's just, and the animation's great. But it's not. So I was thinking in terms of like Watchmen 2, if it was something else like the previous TV show or anything.
That was a good show.
If he was qualifying,
started it today.
I dug it a lot. And I liked that they were like, this is the story we're going to tell. We're not coming back for 2 more seasons or whatever, stretching this thing out. We're going to start this story. We're going to end this story.
Solid. I do want to give a quick hello to J-Man, who almost died this week.
Oh, no.
Dude had a heart attack in the middle of the
Lord.
theater. Yeah, he went and saw Craven. He had a heart attack, and he had to go into surgery. He had surgery, and he came out the other end alive. So it's like a sour patch. It started sour, but it ended sweet. He's alive.
Man, well, God bless. I hope things keep going well, but don't go see Craven. Apparently.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story here.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're okay, bro, and I'm glad you're home and safe. That was crazy. He just randomly posted, like he posted one day, and then the next post I see the very next day, had a heart attack, out of surgery, I'm okay. I'm like, wait, what? What? It's all Craven's fault. Oh, he's going home tomorrow. Okay.
That's way too cavalier.
Yeah. That's
I need more information, my friend.
But what are y'all's thoughts on James Gunn doing a Superman movie? I mean, it's not new news at all, but just kind of building on the conversation, like how you mentioned, like, what do people expect from Creature Commandos? It's James Gunn. This is a direct continuation from the Suicide Squad. It's the same tone, the same pace, the same beats to the storytelling and the music and all that stuff, the humor. What do y'all see? Can y'all even picture that carrying into a Superman movie at all and working?
No, and I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping that the level of James Gunn we get in the Superman movie is toned down, and that he has enough sense and enough talent to be able to let the material and the characters be who they are, and kind of step aside. Like everything we've seen him do, for the most part, with Guardians, Suicide Squad, these are characters that 90% of the viewing audience have no clue about, so he can kind of be a little more free with it. I'm really hoping, and I'm going to trust that he's going to be a little more reserved and respectful of what those characters are when he gets to be playing with the bigger toys. You know what I'm saying? That's at least my hope.
That otherwise we're gonna have a Star Wars situation. AR, what are your thoughts on James taking on Superman? You think he can bring something we haven't seen him do before to the table and deliver?
Like, I am really, really excited. Like, I've already found the, farmhouse and went and took pictures because it's near my house. Mm-hmm. I've been very excited about him getting this franchise because, I think that you could do a really wacky Superman when you can deliver on the heart the way that James Gunn always does. Like James Gunn makes some movies that really, like, oh man, that raccoon really got to me. So he has the ability to do it. So like, when you are given the greatest symbol of hope, maybe ever, what do you do with it? And hopefully, he lives up to that inspiration. He seemed really excited about it. Like he had this script out before this, the strike, right? He said, I'm done. So I
remember I was joking about it. I even got somebody heated in one of my group chats back then, and they never returned. But I made joke about working during a
came
strike.
Back.
Not you, wasn't you?
I'm just kidding.
But I made it. That dude never stopped working during the strike. You remember the day that, what was it, like the day they were going on, the day the strike started, like a couple minutes before it officially started, he posted, just finished the Superman script.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I commented on that on Instagram. Like, that's a stack of paper, James.
That's just a ream of paper with a top page, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that, we've seen that he has that club in his bag, the earnestness and the, like, AR said, you can pull on your heartstrings and get to that level of emotion. Mm-hmm. I just want to make sure that, Superman's not the character to to kind of diverge into your wackiness too much.
Not at
And
all.
especially when you just had the finale to a TV show that basically put everything together just right.
Perfect.
for
There's more than
Superman.
one way to skin a cat. Just because like James Gunn can do a comedy movie and deliver heartfelt moments doesn't mean that that works in a Superman movie. If we go over there and just make a bunch of fart humor and dick jokes, and then we have a heartfelt moment,
Right.
that's
And a banging
That's not the-
soundtrack.
and an amazing soundtrack. That's not the brand. That's not
Right.
Superman. And he's kind of talked on this. So I'm nervous, but I'm equal parts excited because he's already had those conversations, made those statements, and outside of even the projects that he's hands on with, he's like, I want the directors and writers that we hire to come in and bring their own style, their own tone, their own take on storytelling. There are, of course, parameters. They have a connected universe, so we have editorial more or less. But we want you to bring you to these projects. So I hope that we see something with this that we haven't seen him do before. I hope it's the passion project that he said that it is. He's talked about it for a while now, like the connection he has like with his family and the character and the love for Superman. And we see that he's done some homework with some reading stuff over this time period. And I mean, if you read All-Star Superman and you read Kingdom Come as reference books and you think that your Guardian of the Galaxy or Peacemaker humor belong anywhere near this project, you need to check the carbon dioxide levels in your house. Like there's something wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm really hoping, is that he's got all these other things that he's getting that out of his system, right? Like, okay, I've got all these great dick jokes I want to throw in.
I've been holding dick jokes for a long time. I got to let it go somewhere.
It's like, let me get these out in all these other things,
And I've been itching to do a scene on necrophilia. How can we
Yeah,
do this?
exactly. Can I do it? Can I get away with it? Can I pull it
get
off?
away with it?
I better put it over here in Creature Commandos.
Yeah.
As I understand it, it's going to be Superman and then Clayface or Sergeant Rock, right? The way it's looking right now, those are
Sergeant Rock is
traction.
supposed to be set for something next year. Official dates. I got them right here if you want to see them. This is our official confirmed dates as they sit right now. Superman, July 11th of next year, followed by Supergirl, June 26th, and Clayface, September 11th of 2026. October 2nd for Batman 2 looks like, as of this week, it potentially will be pushed back into 2027 because Matt Reeves is not rushing the script and James is not pressuring him. Which lets you know, as a fan, that James Gunn's DCU Batman Brave and the Bold, that's probably going to be like forever to never away from now, because Matt Reeves' Batman is not going to be running simultaneously beside that, I'm sure, which gives us more room to establish a DCU with Superman at the center, which I think is very important. But then that dynamic duo project is scheduled for June 30th, 2028, which... Didn't they say that's something with puppets or animation or something? That's not a live action, is it?
I have no idea. I thought it was live action, but maybe not.
What's
Is the Clayface a TV show?
Clayface is supposed to be a $40 million live action budget. It's supposed to be a straight horror. Live action project set within the DCU, straight horror project. So it looks like we'll be building out our Batman villains and standalone films before we get Batman. They're going to make a Clayface movie without Batman. Then the internet's going to get to do the same thing they complained about with the Sony version. Oh, you're going to make a movie without Spider-Man in it. I don't know. They just made a flawless Penguin show without Batman in it. Just got nominated for a bunch of awards, broke viewership records. Doesn't matter who's in it or not in it. What matters is if it's good.
Good. Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Well,
written by Mike Flanagan. The Clayface.
HBO and Warner Brothers didn't renew their Sesame Street deal, so maybe they'll be working on. Maybe Henson and those guys will be working on the dynamic duo.
That would be funny.
We'll get the Muppets.
They haven't announced if he's showing up in Clayface or not, but I'm assuming not.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, they're man. It's going to be interesting. We can't it's crazy that like people don't really talk too much about who's going to be the DCU Batman. You see it mentioned here or there, but it's not like a big deal. Like it's a we'll get around to it kind of thing. I like that Superman's at the focus of this. I don't think any of this universe will work. I don't think any of it has a snowball's chance in hell of working if you don't set your foundation with Superman. It has to. It has to land. I want a good Solomon Grundy. Yeah, you and me both. If you want a good Solomon Grundy, go watch Stargirl.
The Clayface thing feeds into.
Look at this. I hadn't seen anything.
Oh, just the Clayface thing feeding into what his chapter 1 he described as gods and monsters, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like more monsters into the thing and giving us a hint of the Batman world without, giving us Batman as they work on that. Yeah, I am really interested to see who they pick as Batman. You're right. That is a big conversation you think would, inspire a lot more YouTube videos than you're seeing.
Mm-hmm. And there's some fan casts that pop up, but with it as far away as it is, think about that. Whoever you would consider today, like let's go take a look on the internet. Let's scroll around. Let's see who's hot. Let's see who's up and coming. Probably nobody that's active in that conversation is who will end up being our Batman. It'll probably be somebody that no one can guess as of today when you look at how far down the road it is.
Yeah, he's like on a Disney show or something right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's still in the Mickey Mouse Club. Give him 10 more years.
Yeah, they're cooking a Pattinson right now.
Yeah, I know it's I haven't seen too many people agree with it, but I would be fine with letting Matt Reeves' Batman that be the canon DCU Batman world. I like that it's so tonally its own thing. I like the grounded feel of it. It could easily get fantastical without going too overboard. I don't think Batman's villain should be too overboard for this Batman, but I'm completely on board with introducing like meta elements, like let Clayface be actually Clayface, not just some dude who looks like Elephant Man. Let him be Clayface. Let Mr. Freeze have some tech, but doesn't have to be like Arnold level tech, like I need the diamond to put in, like it doesn't have to go that far.
No.
He could just put like a cubic zirconian in there and it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree too, because that I like, and it especially works for Batman in Gotham and all of those characters to kind of have more of that real, if you're going to build something out, have it be more of that real kind of feel to it. Like I think, I don't know. I get back and forth with this gun stuff. Now I get worried when I read stuff like this with the dynamic duo thing. It's going to be I hadn't heard anything about that. It says here, director Arthur Mintz explained that traditional puppetry as well as animation will be used in the movie. This is a movie. This is a theatrical release movie they're planning, not till 2028. There's no way that happens, right? I don't think. I mean, 2028 is a long way away. I don't think that's happening.
It's getting closer every day.
We could get good at puppets right now.
I was going to say, that's true. That's so far away that there could be a ton of puppetry movies released.
Calling Thunderbirds. Calling all Thunderbirds.
Right, exactly.
Yo, how can you even do puppets without people just like picturing Team America World Police? They changed puppetry forever. It's over. Matt Damon.
And if you guys ever listen to the behind the scenes of Team America World Police, they said working with puppets was awful. One of the worst things they ever did. They don't ever want to do it again.
It couldn't be easy, that's for sure.
I'm a big fan of puppets. If you're ever in the Atlanta area, check out the Center for Puppetry Arts Museum. It's wonderful. You can go sit in Big Bird's nest. You get to visit the guys from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
there's a little bit different between like animatronics and those kind of puppets and versus actually on a string. That has to be hard, man. Like those Mystery Science Theater ones, there's just guys under them operating them, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just like two things. Maybe the arms move around a little bit, right?
how high were you when you sat in Big Bird's nest?
I've been there a lot. So
Is anybody else sitting in Big Bird's nest?
they let you go in there if you know a guy.
All right, let's move this on along. Another one on HBO Max, a big one, and I was yesterday years old when I found out that there's only 2 episodes left of Dune Prophecy. They're doing a short. I guess there's just another short series. What would that give it? Like 6 episodes total, something like that. I think we're only 4 in. But are y'all keeping up with that?
I am not.
AR, are you keeping up with Dune Prophecy?
Yeah, and I'm it's turning it around. I was kind of disappointed with Dune 2. I felt like it kind of like it was like it kind of reminded me of Moana 2. Like it felt like it was like, oh man, you're using this really, really nice setup to kind of make a larger franchise you're going to do something with. And like, okay, I guess it kind of, I'll see what you do next, but I was disappointed. It didn't feel like, like a complete piece of art. Like there was going to be something else coming out of this, obviously. But I really like what spun out of it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, seeing there's a lot of weird stuff in the Dune universe. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they show, and and the fact that we're seeing characters, as younger versions and origin stories and that type of stuff. That's interesting.
Super duper origin stories, 10,000 years ago origin stories. But it's crazy how relevant what's happening in Dune Prophecy is to the lore that is later just established lore in the universe. This is pretty much just like a battle for power with the sisterhood, like them getting established. How you have like the whole sisterhood that's on the right side of all the great houses, the barons of the great houses and stuff. How they all have these truth whisperers and stuff like that. Is them really having their first pushback against them, and it looks like it's ultimately coming from the powers that be in Arrakis, of all places, the actual worms themselves. They almost have like they have an avatar in this character named Desmond Hart, who was swallowed by one but survived, and he's come back with with kind of the sight beyond sight kind of thing, and he has some abilities, and he's pushing back against the sisterhood.
Powers?
What is it?
I said, does he have worm-like powers?
No, he has the. How they can do like the whole voice thing. Like how they can like almost like just influence you or just like do that deep voice and you're like frozen. You have to do what they say, kind of thing. He's immune to that. He has the ability to like literally just burn people from the inside out with just like with his mind, and he doesn't know how, other than that he was eaten by one of the worms. Is all of his team members he was sent there to Arrakis with, because he's like in part of the crew in charge of mining the spice on Arrakis, and they were all taken out, and he was the only survivor, and he came back, and something's different about him. So he's a threat to the sisterhood, challenging against them. He's at the right side of the Emperor, ran the truth seeker or truth sayer off from their side. So they're plotting and scheming to get that power back. And they're shots that are coming for the Emperor. It's all a game of chess. It's a game of ultimate chess, trying to plot and move people in power, match make, ultimately trying to just be the ones that are truly in control. Like the Emperor is in control of nothing. It's really the sisterhood, but they finally have something pushing back against that. It's wild. It's super wild.
Yeah, and then the twist of this show, which I suggest watching it if you like the Dune world, or if you just kind of like good TV. But the idea that there is a AI attempting to find, essentially a space Jesus. That's a really interesting concept, and like how they've laid it out, and how it's kind of going, like what will be the solution to their, like religion, maybe for lack of a better word, cult, is going against their own ideas, and that's great. Good writing.
Yeah, because the whole point behind the sisterhood is they want to evolve humankind. Like that's who Paul is. Like he's like supposed to be the next evolution of human. That's their whole goal behind playing matchmaker and moving people around. And you find out in the show, and I never knew this, but their whole codex of like the genealogy to try to find out who to pair, it's all done with thinking machines, which are outlawed in Dune. That's why you don't see computers being used and all that. They're completely outlawed. So the sisterhood of all people have like this massive supercomputer that's hidden away that they're doing it all through. And I'm surprised that wasn't like a bigger thing in lore, like with old sisterhood. So obviously they don't get caught, I guess.
You know, if you try to, like they're very, very powerful, but they don't have, like the political power for real. No one really wants to follow them. They don't have that type of power. It is a very, the way it's set up is very interesting. You are watching a game of chess that will go over thousands of years.
Mm-hmm. Any of you guys up to speed on Silo?
Oh yeah.
Apple TV's premiere show airing right now. Episode 5 was it? Dropped this week?
I think this is 5, isn't it? Tonight?
Yeah. Episode 5 dropped this past Friday, 2 days ago.
Or 2 days ago. Yeah, sorry.
Are you up to speed?
I haven't seen that. I left off at 4. Right.
One thing
was 4 when she was trying to make the suit, right? And
that's fine.
Like they got that one every season episode where she goes through absolute. They had her down in that fire thing trying to fix in season 1, fix the generator. Yeah, and this time she was underwater trying to get to having to breathe through it too. That's where I left off. That was the last one I saw with the which.
I think that was the last episode. The last episode you saw ended with them running down the stairs from the mob.
Yes.
So I made a comment last week on that. Like, can you imagine how angry you have to be as an individual to run down that many flights of stairs and still be angry by the time you get down there? Like, I would get a couple floors and just be like, no, we can't do this. This is
You'd have to be like so angry and then like add to it. But like, I can't believe they made me go down all these stairs. I'm even more angry from having to do that.
Yeah. Eventually, you would just get angry at them. You wouldn't even be. I'm done chasing them. Let's go. We got to go fuss at the people who sent us on this errand. But that that was a big thing. So I do want to point out that the new episode starts with the angry mob, but they're now walking down the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, all right, guys, that's
good.
We're gonna get there.
That's good because I'm hoping that they would because it just was too easy. That was the only problem I had. It just felt a little too easy that the acting mayor or whatever comes out and says it was them. They did it. And everybody just was like, okay, let's go get them.
Rabble roar.
Yeah, and Commons like, it's our duty to bring justice and blah, blah. And it's like, man, you guys all fell for that really easy. And
in this world, you would really be primed for it though. Like 100% of all information they ever get is from IT, is from the judicial, like that. They have no exterior information of any sort.
If propaganda is all you're given,
period.
That's all you're gonna. Yeah, that's all you're gonna know.
And there's not even a way to go seek your own information. You don't have a such thing as your own resources. That's it.
Yeah, but I will say this: if you have a great show, the only thing you can really do to kick it up a notch is throw in Steven Zahn. For me, and I just think that's when I saw him and heard his voice, I was like, oh heck yes, I'm definitely in for this. I love that dude.
Yeah, he is a joy. And to add to your point about going down, what I imagine is happening is that you get down 10 levels and then you're just gonna stop at your family's house. And then those people will come and join the mob and be like, you need to get these people out of my house. I'll kill whoever we're chasing.
I don't have that many juice boxes. You guys gotta go.
Tapping me out here.
The in-laws are now down 10 floors. We gotta take care of this.
But this was a pretty exciting episode. It was our two characters from Mechanical trying to make it back down to the bottom alive, action packed. They end up having to pull an audible. They weren't going to make it just running straight down the stairs. It was pretty daring what they pull. We also see the repercussions of the death of the judge in the last episode. Tim Robbins calling out Common for kind of making his own plays in those past few episodes as well, kind of doing a little rabble rousing himself. He's starting to become a little bit of a free thinker. So Tim Robbins makes his play against him straight to his face. Like, I know what you've been doing. I'll have none of it. Your job is now vacated and you will never be my shadow. You're the judge now. And it's almost like I didn't think about it, but it's not a promotion like that. That job title, the judge, it's nothing. You're just
we saw, right? We found out as things went along. She's just a puppet. She was just a puppet for him to,
Yeah, it's like when the mob sent Stallone out to Tulsa. They thought they were just like, we got to go send you somewhere that doesn't affect anything that we're doing. You go there. That's what that is. So Common got assigned to that as punishment, pretty much. He wanted to be the shadow for the IT guy, but he doesn't. And over with Juliet, her and Solo are continuing to piece together a suit. They're having to do some scavenger hunting to find a suitable helmet, and in the process of it, she's gathering more information on who Steven Zahn really is. We don't know who he is yet for certain, but we do know one person he is not. It was and he is unhinged.
Well, he's been there by himself for a while, so
yeah. But I'm still waiting to see how long. AR over here holds all the secrets.
They've changed enough. Yeah, that's right. The first season of Silo was, it was so good. I had to. I ruined it for myself.
Yeah, right on.
And they're sticking to it pretty close. The the judge character, all of that was made up, for the show, and it resulted in some wonderful acting. So, some great scenes. That scene where he's showing her, virtual reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two. I think anyone watching that, and you think about, those are just two actors there, kind of like conveying this idea of being stuck in a silo and seeing, just trees and how terrible that is.
Yeah,
they really were able to get there with, a silly VR set and nothing else. That's, some really good TV. But yeah, as far as, what's going to happen next, well, it's awesome. I can't wait to see. I won't spoil anything unless you like.
No. I don't want any spoilers. No.
Mm-mm.
No, that's great.
Just want to see how it plays out. I agree.
I remember talking to you right after I finished season 1, and you're like, oh boy. I read the book. What? There's books? I was very tempted, man. That first season cliffhanger. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, and I knew there was a books, like a little series or however they did it. I know they did like 4-part, and then they released like another 4-part, or and there was one that wrapped it up, or I don't know. But once I saw that, I was like, nope, I'm staying away. I'm staying away from those. Because I want to see how this plays out, just for the sole fact that it's Graham Yost who, did Justified, which is probably one of my favorite shows ever. And they were so true, and so they took so much from all of Elmore Leonard's books. I was like,
that's a Justified guy, right?
Yeah. This is probably gonna, and this, like I said, Graham Yost, who's the showrunner for Silo, was the showrunner for Justified. So
that makes sense. Justified is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
So
but he tends to stay pretty true to his source material. He likes to add different things. Like, Boyd Crowder was not a part of any of that, but he took pieces and elements from, the book, like any of the short stories. Or
how could you even do it without Boyd Crowder?
He took pieces and parts of different characters and made. Well, Boyd, he wasn't supposed to be there. He was supposed to die crazy after that first episode. Raylan shoots him, kills him, and he's done.
That's crazy to think. He's
that
like
was the original.
By the end of it, he's the closest thing Raylan ever had to a true friend, which is the irony of it all.
They completely changed course once they saw the chemistry between the two of them.
Walton Goggins is just phenomenal, though.
Amazing. amazing. But I was like, he's going to probably stay pretty close to those silo books in terms of plot and how things build. So I'm not touching those books.
I still remember the first time I watched
episode.
episode 1 of Justified, and it lives in my head rent free all the time. Is when the guy from Miami comes for him, and he stops on the road, gets out, and the guy gets out of his car, and he just goes, "That's good right there."
That's great.
This is got to be the coolest show ever.
See, I'm on the opposite now, because now I'm like, oh, there's Justified books. I gotta go look this up now.
Well, there's Elmore Leonard books. Yeah.
I don't know anything about this.
Oh my gosh, he's probably my favorite writer ever. I mean, rest in peace. But yeah, he started, like all these Westerns, he started in Westerns. So like 310 to Yuma, right?
That's him.
Absolute favorite, one of my favorite books. And yeah, the original movie and then the remake, both are fantastic.
The remake is so good.
They're very, very true to the book, and to the whole story of the book and so forth.
Wasn't that Christian Bale and Russell Crowe?
Yeah, it was.
God, that was good.
Well, I traditionally like the stuff you review or say is good. I'll check it out. Now I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole.
Well, 310 to Yuma, that's an exceptional Western. That's really good. You should check that out.
There's like a 4-book series I think that he did with Raylan Givens, like Riding the Rap and then Fire in the Hole, which So like I said, all of those pieces from those stories were pulled into Justified. So I imagine, like I said, Silo's going to be done kind of the same way.
Did you ever watch the final season that they did years later, like when his kids growed up?
The redo, on Hulu, yeah, absolutely.
What was it? That season had its own nickname. It was like Justified.
Primeval or City Primeval.
Yeah, I watched the first episode and I'm like, I'm gonna have to revisit this at another time.
Yeah, it's good. It's hard to pick back up when that
had a perfect ending to the series. It was
the
series ended really well.
Yeah, it really did. And
watching Raylan get berated by his kid, I'm like, I'm definitely in for this, but I don't want to watch it right now.
I'll spoil one thing for you, is that the last episode of the City Primeval, they bring Boyd back. And it's just like a little cameo deal, but it's like a deal to let you know he's still out there.
Out there.
He's not just rotting away in prison now. So it'll be interesting to see if they go anywhere with that.
Did they bring Ava back at all for it?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, no. Well, that's good. Everybody
was new. Everybody
found
was
her
new.
peace, and she found her own life and everything. And
and then like Winona's in it for a second.
Like if you close off a plot, you don't have to go open that plot back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The only thing is, they tied it in with the end with her having a kid. That little boy that walked out. Yeah. So that's hanging out there. So if they ever revisit it, it'd be interesting. But
I got one more show I want to bring up. Made the thumbnail. I don't know if y'all ever got into Dexter with Michael C. Hall, but I absolutely love Dexter. I know a lot of people don't like how it ended. I loved how it ended with him riding off into the storm, and unfortunate about Debs and everything. But then they did the Dexter New Blood series. It kind of just, gave you a what's he been up to kind of thing. But now on Paramount Plus, which has quickly become like my favorite streaming platform. Like I've been I've been a Max guy for as long as it's been out, but I don't remember who it was. It's like, dude, you just got to get Paramount Plus. Somebody kept recommending it, and I eventually got it. And I've just been, me and the wife both just live on it. It's just the variety, the volume of stuff. But that's where Showtime is. And Dexter has a brand new show called Original Sin, which takes us back to the time era when Dexter pretty much first gets done with college and gets the job at the precinct. And this is really priming us too. So Michael C. Hall does still do the inner dialogue for Dexter, because if you watch the show, you know that Michael C. Hall plays Dexter, but the way it was formatted and written, you get his inner thoughts all through it. He narrates you and his own actions and everything, which I love that about it. So Michael C. Hall is doing the voice for Dexter, even when he's in the younger actor on screen. The younger actor does a great job, like with the mannerisms and looking like him and stuff. Now, the first episode, he's kind of got longer hair because of the time era, but it's cut by the end, and he's in the job, and he's like, dude, you look like young Michael C. Hall here. So I like that they did that with the poster as well, kind of did the split face thing. But this is priming us for the next chapter in Michael C. Hall's Dexter that'll be coming. Dexter Resurrection will be coming mid next year. So we've got like a long lineup of Dexter stuff. But it was a great first episode. It felt like hopping right back in the saddle with all those excessive Miami, Florida colors and tones and stuff. And you see a lot of familiar characters just in young actors playing them. That was really cool. But I enjoyed it a lot. If you enjoy Dexter, the regular old Dexter show, you'll probably enjoy Dexter Original Sin.
So it's a period piece, though. It's like it's back when he was younger, type of thing. So is it like the 70s or what is it?
No, it's not that far. So we don't go back to when he's a kid. Like we have Dexter's origin story. This is not an origin story, and that's an important thing to point out because I saw some people arguing this online. We have Dexter's origin story. They gave us that in the Dexter show. They gave us the flashbacks, the whole thing. That was a big part of season 1 is his memories in the container with the blood and his mom. The whole thing with Harry and him with Harry, his stepdad or adopted father, kind of talking with him and working with him through these urges, taking him hunting and the progression and everything. So this show starts and it does kind of re-show some aspects of stuff we've seen because it was what was it, James Remar who played his dad in the original show. Christian Slater's playing him in this and does a damn good job. But you see the heart attack scene when they were hunting. Then he's telling Harry, like, this isn't doing it for the urges anymore. And Harry has the heart attack. That's part of this episode. But also his first kill is also part of this episode, which is just, they're re-showing that because not everybody's going to remember it. I mean, God, what was it, 15 years ago?
Yes.
It was a while ago when we did Dexter season 1.
Yep.
But they tread over that stuff just to get us to the point where it's his first day on the job at the precinct. That's what this is. It's the early days of him becoming a cop. It's that time era.
Yeah, I don't have Paramount Plus, but I'd be interested to see that because I really liked Dexter, and this guy does look a lot.
What's his name?
Patrick Gibson.
Patrick Gibson, yeah, and the way he carries himself.
The OA, so that's where I've seen him. I was like, how come I've seen this dude before? And
the way he carries himself, he's able to pick up those mannerisms and like his speech that he's using for it. Because Dexter's an awkward fella, very introverted and all that stuff. He nails this role.
I'll have to find that and try to.
AR, did you ever watch Dexter?
Yeah, I'm all caught up, and I find it really interesting that they are telling stories. The spoiler of the last theory is that Dexter's son is going to go on probably just having an inner monologue. So this will be like 2 young actors going around with the inner monologue of this man. That is a really interesting choice for the future of this series.
What's this kid's name? Like Oliver or something like that?
Oh man, I gotta think about it.
Something like that.
Yeah, I watched that.
Kind of quirky.
Yeah, that series was fine.
What was it called? Dexter New Blood, that one-off series?
I think it was New Blood, yeah. Yeah, I love Paramount. I was just talking with John's brother about he's watching Discovery, which is great. They have the new Star Trek over there and liking it.
You got to say his name.
Jim.
Digger Jim.
He's around here somewhere.
John's brother, Digger Jim. Yeah. You have to say the whole thing. It's like a Tribe Called Quest.
Yes. Yeah, he was the same. Yeah, I can't.
Almost 20 years ago. Good God.
Wow.
Time flies.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
That just makes me feel old.
In the stream.
It's about
I remember the first time I saw Michael C. Hall, I wasn't until 6 Feet Under, and I'm like, that show was a long time ago.
He went from what was it, the Hitcher or something like that, to 6 Feet Under to Dexter. I don't remember seeing him in anything else.
Yeah.
Well, what did you enjoyed Original Sin though, AR?
Yeah. A lot of people said they didn't like it, but I thought it was a good little, wrap up. The end of his series. He did go off into the sunset, and I'm glad that they, kept doing things with this character. Like the guy is charming, and the character was, great. Yeah, it's interesting that I was not expecting the prequel angle, but you're saying it's really good. I have not checked it out yet. Now I'm going to.
Yeah, and if you watched New Blood, so Michael C. Hall does appear in this. The end of New Blood appears in this, and it picks up right where New Blood ended, if you remember where that is, with him taking the shots to the chest, and you see what happens from there, and the reason for us, like for a storytelling perspective, the reason we're retreading these early days of his life is almost like like your life flashing before your eyes in extreme moments of near death.
That's the setup. Okay.
Yeah, so the end of New Blood with him getting shot is the setup for like laying on the, you end with him like laying there in the snow with bullet holes in him, presumably dead. But this starts with him getting thrown in the back of the cop car and rushed to the hospital and thrown on the operating table and getting defibbed and worked on. And then the monologue starts, and you go into his mind to these early things and stuff. I thought it was smooth. I like Dexter though. It's a good show, and yeah, I don't see what people could complain about it. If you like Dexter, this is Dexter. It's like spot on. Like,
Right.
you remember how quirky Dexter was with like everything had pink or blue lighting, and it felt like if Miami Vice was a serial killer TV show, or like Grand Theft Auto Vice City was a serial killer TV show. It has
a good description of the tone. Yeah,
they pull it off.
I think most people, at least with the original series, had a problem because the whole premise was that this was a serial killer with a moral compass to some extent. He was only killing the bad people type of thing
without the guns.
Yeah, and then they felt like at the end it kind of went back on that, and like I think they were looking for some kind of redemption arc. And he's a terrible person. He's not. I mean, whether he's killing bad people or not, he's still killing people. And there's no redemption arc. That they finished it the only way they really could, which was with questions. Leave questions, and then you as the viewer get to decide where things went. And so I think that's a problem that people had when they came back and did New Blood. They were like, wait a minute, I'd already written the end of this story in my head.
That's like if they go back and revisit The Sopranos and Tony was alive. Like, wait a minute. I know you didn't show it, but we decided as a fandom what happened.
Right. So
around, but I don't have any little Dexter Lego guys.
Be better prepared next time.
Yeah.
You don't have any Lego plastic sheeting and
tied to a table. That's what I need to have next time. Slide that in the frame.
We're approaching 10 o'clock. I would definitely want to make sure we hard stop by then because it's Sunday night, and I have a new routine on Sunday night. For those of you that have Paramount Plus, you might be familiar with this routine, but Sunday nights are Landman nights. So me and the wife are going to fire up the new episode of Landman and just enjoy one hell of a good show. Billy Bob Thornton has been nominated for a Golden Globe for his role in Landman. Golden Globe. And Penguin was nominated for 3: Best Series, Best Actor Colin Farrell, and Best Actress Christina, last name I'm going to butcher.
Melati.
I had not heard he got Best Actor. That's great.
Yeah, he got nominated.
Did you see the clip with him thanking the crew and talking and all of that?
Oh, it gave me the heebie-jeebies.
I just hearing Colin Farrell's voice come out of that. It was so weird.
Full penguin makeup, full penguin outfit, and just this genuinely kind soul with an accent, just giving his love and thanks and appreciation. You're like, ew, gross. What is that?
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, it is getting late, and I know we're supposed to talk about comic books, but I didn't get any comic books this week. I hadn't had a chance to go. Other than the only things I've got on tap are Green Lantern and then the reprint that'll be showing up at some point.
Dude, I picked up my.
It was
comic
actually a
book
pretty
only-
light week for me though, so that's why I didn't go. I was like, just put it in the box and.
The only thing I think I read this week was Green Lantern so far. Didn't read the new action yet. Superman. Oh, I read Terminator. Look at that cover too.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. That
The
kind of
Full Metal Jacket homage. I still have books from last week I didn't read. I got Dick Tracy #6. I've got 2 issues of Hulk, Spirit of Vengeance. I still have to read Magic Order. It's the holiday season, my man. It's Christmas time. New Transformers. I did pick up a second one of these to put one in the Legion loot box for this month for the channel members that are in the Legionnaire tier. Also, I picked up another one of these foil Virgin Superman, Absolute Superman to go in there as well. So I got a lot of stuff I got to read. Hopefully, I can just sit down tomorrow. I did read Nightclub, but yeah, I got a little stack that I got to read. AR's got the Aurora going on.
Nice.
Yeah, Storm 3 is the comic I'd like. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about Green Lantern. I have not read that, though I picked it up. I have Storm, I thought was my biggest, like, Storm's got a boyfriend. You know, I don't know if you guys have seen that. Storm and Wolverine are a couple again.
Sounds dangerous for both of them because Metal is a conductor, right?
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point. I've never thought about that.
Neither did the writers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he likes it.
Maybe.
Yeah, he could heal right up. He'll be all right.
Yo, in the extended footage for X-Men 3, The Last Stand, when Charles and Eric went to Jean's house to try to talk her down off the ledge when she was in the kitchen and Charles ultimately died, there was the fight outside with the Morlocks and with Juggernaut. And in the extended footage, that fight goes on a lot longer and is a lot brutal. And it ultimately, they put Juggernaut down because Wolverine plants his claws in his helmet and puts his other hand out, and Storm electrocutes Wolverine so that it shocks Juggernaut down to the ground. That was not in the theatrical cut.
Full on a lobotomy.
Yeah, pretty much temporarily. He got better. She turned me into a newt. I got better. But yeah, it's 10 o'clock on the dot. Definitely going to wrap it up. The wife just walked in here too. So hopefully she's ready to watch some Landman. And then off to work tomorrow.
Yeah, she goes start it without you. She's like, wrap it up.
She better not. But yeah, Paul, thank you so much for jumping in, Brother John. Paul should be back next week. If not, I'm sure John will be. He's
just let me know.
But yeah, y'all go check out Storm because apparently it's the one.
Yeah, I'm liking the Storm series so far. Yeah, they don't have a good, celebrity couple name. There's no good combination. You got like Worm. That's no good.
I see this has this issue has, is this number 3 has Dr. Voodoo in it?
That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
Is that Brother Voodoo who's been upgraded? Did he finally get his license or?
Yes,
he's now Dr. Voodoo.
It's about time.
They say comics have no progression, right?
A lot of people go to college a lot of people go to school for 8 years. Yeah, they're called doctors. What was that? Was David Spade and Chris Farley? God, which one was that? Was that Black Sheep or Tommy Boy? A lot of people go to school for 8 years. Yeah, they're called doctors.
Black Sheep, I think. Yeah,
those two are great. But I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. Appreciate you hopping on, AR. Y'all go catch up on a lot of these shows.
I love having a place to talk about Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that.
Season to watch television. It's really on top right now. There's no excuse to not find something that you'll really enjoy. There's a lot of variety out there. And in between those episodes, swing by here and come chat with us, hang out. I got some videos already prepped and uploaded for the week. If you're a channel member, they're available now. Like we mentioned at the beginning, all the Craven review, detailed discussion, that video will be out tomorrow. And then did a little deep diving into some of the stuff that we know about the upcoming Lantern series. A lot of new information is coming out of the Green Lantern camp, and I couldn't be more excited for that. Aaron Pierre went on record with some stuff. Tom King's gone on record with some stuff, as well as James Gunn. So there's a lot of information to look at and to get excited about with that. So there'll be a video on that as well. I appreciate everybody coming. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.
Is that it? Is that all you got?